Hello everyone. In the last video we started with treatment and disposal of sludge. So in that video we saw the volume mass relationship for sludge and how can we find out the volume or the mass for the given sludge. And so there are various treatments which are given to a sludge. So that is, we'll see them. The first one is sludge thickening. So thickening of the sludge simply means to reduce its moisture content, to reduce the moisture content of sludge. So it is done to improve the loading on digestion tank, loading on digestion tank improves. More solids will be there because in that we want the digestion of those solids. And apart from that, it also reduces the transportation cost. So there are various methods for this sludge thickening. That is, first is gravity thickening. So in case of gravity thickening, simply a tank is provided in which the sludge can settle. So this type of method is suitable for the sludge which is obtained from primary sedimentation tank, because the particles or the solids in this sludge have higher specific gravity, or it can be used for a mixed sludge, so that is from primary sedimentation tank and from activated sludge process, but more part should be from the primary sedimentation tank sludge. So if the activated sludge, what is obtained from this process is greater than 40%, then this process is not suitable. It should be below 40%. And apart from that, next method is air flotation. So in air flotation, this method is suitable for sludge obtained from activated sludge process, because the sludge or the sludge solids have lower density or lower specific gravity, we can say. So what is done in this case? In this case, let's say this is your flotation tank. So sludge along with the wet sludge will be coming from here, and supernatant is removed from this end. So a part of the supernatant goes to a pressurized tank, and in this pressurized tank, this supernatant is pressurized and air is introduced. So it is saturated with air. So whatever the supernatant we are getting out of the sludge, that is the liquid part of the sludge, so some of it is taken in this tank and it is saturated with air, and it is again introduced back, it is mixed with the sludge which is the influent sludge. So when it enters into this tank, so what will happen here, because air is, it is mixed with air, so air bubbles will try to go up, and along with these bubbles the solids will also stick. Solids also rises to the surface. Solids also rise to the surface. So that way a sludge blanket will form after some time, because the sludge has lower specific gravity, so it can come up with the air. So a sludge blanket is formed, and with the skimming process it can be removed. So that's how this air flotation works. And the last method for this sludge thickening is centrifugation. So centrifugation is the application of centrifugal force. So that way the solids and the moisture, or the solids and liquid, can be separated with the help of, a chamber is provided which is rotating at a very high speed. So that way sludge and the solids and the liquid can be separated. But this method will be costly, so it is only used when there is limitation on space. So that is how sludge thickening is done. And then after sludge thickening, the next step is sludge digestion. sludge digestion means to stabilize the organic matter, that is your biodegradable organic matter, so it forms stable and compounds. So it is done for primary sedimentation tank sludge and secondary sedimentation tank sludge. So the characteristics of both the sludges are different. What we get from primary sedimentation tanks, it has more organic matter, and what we get from secondary sedimentation tank, it has more biomass, because we use several processes like activated sludge process or trickling filter, so it increases the biomass concentration. So depending upon that, the sludge digestion can be done in two ways, that is aerobic digestion and anaerobic digestion. So aerobic digestion can be done in similar ways, like we saw oxidation pond, that similar kind of ponds can be provided, or aerobic lagoon can be used. So in aerobic lagoons, these are similar to oxidation ponds, but mechanical devices are provided for aeration. So it is similar to that is your aerobic digestion. So aerobic digestion is preferred for this secondary sedimentation sludge, because it has less organic matter compared to your primary sedimentation tank sludge. So if more organic matter is there, then this aerobic digestion is not suitable, because it produces more biomass compared to the anaerobic digestion. So let me tell you some more points about this anaerobic digestion. So it is done in a closed chamber, or the digestion tank as we call it. So in anaerobic digestion, we saw two types of bacteria work. First is acid producing bacteria, or we tell this first stage as acid fermentation. So in acid fermentation, hydrolysis of the organic matter happens, that is formation, the organic compounds are converted into some liquids, and then these are converted into acids, that is organic acids. This is the first stage. And in the second stage, that is known as methane fermentation. So the bacteria uses the products of this first stage, and it converts the organic matter into methane and carbon dioxide and other gases. So hydrogen sulfide is also evolved in some cases here. So here what happens, here gases are evolving. Now gases are evolving from where? These gases are coming out of what? Organic matter. So due to this reason, and apart from that, there is one more reason. In the anaerobic condition, the microbial growth rate is lower. Microbial growth rate is lower compared to the aerobic condition. So because of these two things, that is some of the, or a very good amount of organic matter is converted into these gases, and microbial growth rate is low. So because of that, biomass is not very high, and overall the sludge production due to these reasons, that is some of the organic matter is converted simply into gases and biomass is low, so sludge production is lower if we compare to the aerobic processes. So that is the reason, that because of that, the primary sedimentation tank sludge, what we obtain the sludge from this primary sedimentation tank, it is digested anaerobically, because it has more organic matter. And if more organic matter is present, and if we use the aerobic process, then it will produce much more biomass, and the sludge produced will be more if we are using the aerobic process. So for this sludge, anaerobic process is preferred. So there are some factors, two of them, that affects the sludge digestion. Factors affecting sludge digestion. So I've taken only two which I found are worth telling. So first is temperature So temperature affects this sludge digestion process. So bacteria are of two types. One is mesophilic and other one is thermophilic. And it is seen that as the temperature of digestion increases, the rate of digestion also rate of digestion you can write rate of digestion increases with temperature increase, with increase in temperature, because these two types of bacteria are active. So mesophilic bacteria works in the range of 20 degrees Celsius to around 40 degrees Celsius, and the optimum value of temperature for this bacteria is around 29 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, it takes least days or the minimum days for digestion of sludge. That is, we are talking about mesophilic bacteria. And thermophilic bacteria works in the range of 40 to 60 degrees Celsius, and the optimum value of temperature for this is 54 degrees Celsius. So that is, at 54 degrees Celsius, for thermophilic bacteria it will take minimum days for digestion. Among these two bacteria, between mesophilic and thermophilic bacteria, mesophilic range is chosen for digestion. The reason for that is, if the temperature is in the thermophilic range, then there is very large odor problem. And apart from that odor problem, one more thing is that we require heating, that is, separate heating is required, and that increases the cost of treatment. So because of that, mesophilic range is preferred in the treatment. And then the next factor that affects the digestion process is pH. So if pH is too low, if low pH is there, then it affects the methane formation, because it cannot, if sudden change is there, if suddenly acid increases in the first stage of anaerobic digestion, if acid increases, then this methane producing bacteria does not adapt very easily to that change. So that is why if pH becomes too low, then it affects the methane formation. And this lowering of pH, it happens due to, if suddenly raw sewage is coming, that is, overdosing is done, overdosing with raw sewage. And apart from that, if suddenly industrial waste is coming, sudden industrial waste, then also this pH decreases suddenly. So how to treat this problem? So for that, addition of hydrated lime is done. So these are the two important factors that affect the sludge digestion. Now the sludge digester, about the sludge digester which is provided for this anaerobic digestion. So it can be of two types, that is standard rate and high rate. So in high rate, two tanks are provided, separate tanks, and in standard rate all the processes happen in one tank. So the volume of standard rate filter, the formula, I just want to tell that. So for the standard rate digester, the volume of the digester is obtained as V is equal to Vf plus Vd divided by 2 into T1 plus Vd into T2. So this formula is applied if it is assuming that sludge digestion is linear. and another formula is there where it is assumed that sludge digestion or this progress of sludge digestion is parabolic. So in that case, the volume of digester is given as Vf minus 2 by 3 Vf minus Vd into T1 plus Vd into T2. So what are these parameters here? V is the volume of digester and Vf is the volume of fresh sludge, that is fresh incoming sludge per day, volume of fresh sludge per day, and Vd is the volume of digested sludge per day. Apart from that, T1 is your digestion time, depending upon which bacteria is working, mesophilic or thermophilic, so it is also in days, and T2 is the monsoon storage. So what is this monsoon storage? This part indicates the monsoon storage in both the formula. So in the monsoon, what sludge, these sludge drying beds are provided, sludge drying beds. So these, in the monsoon, these beds can be flooded. So if these are flooded, then the sludge from sludge digested cannot be released. So for that, for the monsoon season, this separate storage is kept, whatever the sludge will be produced in the monsoon days, and the provision is given for that part. So that's how the volume of sludge digester can be computed. So this is enough for this video. Thank you.